Alrighty, so take two in terms of doing this late night edition of the CONCACAF Champions Cup review. That is, as the first time I tried to do it, the computer crashed. So yeah, that's not ideal. I guess even the computer are getting very tired in terms of me doing the brown liquor special when it comes to reviewing these CONCACAF Champions Cup games. Though one thing I will say that I'm actually at least thankful is that those late night game, including two that I have to watch simultaneously. Both of those games kind of got out of hand, so I kind of got a little head start when it comes to writing down just the basic notes on the board so I can start this review as soon as possible. So yeah, with that being said, let us actually talk about these games itself, as I'm going to bring the board out here. And actually, before I race this board, I want to first talk about the first game, which is also the first game I'm going to mention in this review, which is Inter Miami versus Nashville SC. So this game potentially will be the last game that Inter Miami is going to be playing in their temporary stadium. Of course, they're going to be moving to their new stadium known as New Stadium, and unless if there's any conflict that they have with their new stadium, that they can always go back to their temporary venue at Chase Stadium. I don't think Inter Miami is going to be playing that stadium anymore. Their second team is going to be still playing in that stadium. It's kind of a similar situation with Columbus, where Columbus Crew 2 actually play at the historic Crew Stadium, but the Columbus Crew itself have not played at the historic Crew Stadium ever since they moved to Lower.com Field. But yeah, even though this is of course the last game at Chase Stadium, let's just say that, not only the fact that this was not a memorable experience for the home fans, that is, but it was a pretty miserable night when it comes to the weather. I mean, it was pretty much, I wouldn't say it was raining hard throughout this game, but it kind of felt like similar to what happened a couple of years when I went to watch the Seattle Sounder versus Nashville, where, it was kind of a cold, damp night. The rain was kind of keep coming down pretty much throughout the night, and it was kind of the same case in this game as well. And despite the fact that they mentioned the weather was like 67 degrees throughout the night, I clearly do not believe that. It definitely does not feel like 67 degrees. It felt much cooler, and I think part of that is due to the fact that it was kind of raining sideways a little bit. There was a bit of a breeze at Chase Stadium, so yeah. Obviously, for the very last game at Chase Stadium, not only the fact that Inter Miami didn't get their great grandiose finishing that they were hoping for, but even Mother Nature didn't give the grandiose finale in terms of Inter Miami playing in their old temporary stadium before moving to the new one in just a couple of months. But that being said, this is the first time that Inter Miami actually technically play a home game, because they've been on the road pretty much for the first couple of games while their new stadium is being done. And like I said, it was not a memorable night for those Inter Miami fans, seeing their team play for the first time this season, and also playing for the last time at Chase Stadium, because yeah, in the end, Nashville did it. They finally exercised their demon in this game and beat Inter Miami. And albeit, even though they didn't get the win in this one, they didn't need to win this game. Like, all they need to do is get a score draw, and that would be enough because of the away goal rule. And they did exactly that. And what's kind of interesting of this game that I watched, I didn't think Nashville played well in this game either. I mean, Nashville really struggled going forward on the attacking end. I'm not quite sure, maybe the weather had something to do with it, but they just look off tonight in terms of the attack. And that's even when they had the big three of Espinoza, Surridge, and Hani Mukhtar. None of them really looked that threatening going forward on the attacking end. But the reason why they were able to still go through, despite the fact that they were not at their best, is because Inter Miami decided to take the foot off the gas way too early. How many times we said before, just because you have a 1-0 lead, especially with the way that in this two-legged affair where, if Nashville can get that one goal, now they can basically advance to the next round. But it doesn't feel like Javier Mascherano and this Inter Miami team get the memo, because they were just playing way too lax after scoring that opening goal that Messi has had. And this is also kind of a thing that I remember Adrian Heath and Minnesota United team usually do, and how much I hate whenever Adrian Heath decided to put the foot off the gas after the Loons get their first goal, thinking that that's enough to get all 3 points, because more times than not, when you decide to do that, it's not going to end very well for you. And in the case of Inter Miami, it definitely did not end well for them of being just way too casual after taking the early lead. Though that being said, first shot of the game did see Berterame hits it right to Schwalke in the 4th minute. I've been getting a lot of people saying that the Berterame signing has already become a huge bust for Inter Miami. And, obviously Berterame, his time with Inter Miami has definitely not got off to a great start. And I'm still going to kind of give him a little bit of the benefit of the doubt, the fact that, maybe he's adjusting into this new system, but it kind of gets to a point where, with the way that, because this is Inter Miami and because of the expectation that this team has had, and especially the price tag that he is, I do not blame that people and even Inter Miami fans are saying that Berterame has become a huge bust right now because of it. But there was no doubt that Miami dictate the game early. As Nashville, they were elected to sit deep early on. It didn't quite work out because in the 8th minute of the game, Messi would finally get his milestone moment. So coming into this game, he was 1 goal short in terms of scoring his 900th career goal. It finally happened in this one as he scored from Reguilon to make it 1-0 in favor of Inter Miami. That sequence all started with a bad turnover from Nashville as well, and I also think that the closing down there wasn't the best for Nashville perspective, but still, this is Lionel Messi we're talking about. He can definitely create any kinds of attempt. Like he basically kind of was hitting this one off the back foot, and the fact that he still were able to generate some power and just find the tightest windows to shoot this one, just to show you how much he is a GOAT, and there's a reason why he has now scored 900 goals in his career. So yeah, Inter Miami were up 1-0 in the 16th minute. The first shot for Nashville did see Dane Sinclair deny Mukta in the near post. Nashville definitely started to get into this game a little bit with some more possession, and that was kind of one of the the reason why I think they really struggle throughout this game, where, BJ Callahan, he has clearly imprinted this team to be a more possession team. Gone are the days in terms of Nashville really heavily rely on the counterattack and set pieces and just kind of bunker in for the majority of the game, as we've seen with Gary Smith. So it just feels like this team was not really that comfortable when they had to maybe be on the back foot a little bit and not being able to have the possession to build up their attack. But they started to get a little bit more of that and started to get a little bit more purpose on the attack, at least up to that point. Allende then tried to backheel one, but missed one in the 19th minute. The shots were 3-1 for Miami early in this one. Miami definitely had more of the possession, 65% possession compared to just 35 that Nashville have up to this point. Though we did go for a period where not much really happened, and again, this is kind of when I thought Miami was maybe being a little bit too complacent. There was not really so much urgency going forward on the attacking end, and that's also kind of the thing that is kind of started to become a little bit of a theme with this team in the beginning of this season, where it just feels like they're taking it a little bit too lackadaisy going forward, even though they on paper they have the talent to definitely blow teams away. They're not really doing that as what we see in last year as well. Though in the 41st minute, Mukta puts it high on the free kick before Mora would hit one right to Schwalke in the first minute of stoppage time. But we do head to halftime with Inter Miami leading 1-0 in this game. In the second half, Allende was in on goal there, but unfortunately he wasn't able to get a shot as it was actually broken up in a vital moment by the Nashville defense. The Nashville defense was definitely lights out in this game. And as much as I talk about Miami being a little bit complacent on the attacking end, Nashville, I thought, for the most part, kind of play a big part of the fact that they weren't really allowing a lot of passing lane that Inter Miami has. They really shut things down, and even for the most part besides the first goal that Messi has scored, Messi didn't really have his best game in this one either. He was active at times in this game when he was on the ball, but after that it just kind of feels like every time when he's trying to set up his teammate, it just kind of all broken down because Nashville was always there in the right space to cut the passes and cut those chances away. And even when the ball was coming into the box, Miami was just being very poor in the final third, I thought, throughout this game as well. But in the 58th minute, Berterame had a free header there, but he hits it right to Schwalke because, like I said, Berterame, he is not allowed to score a goal. He's continued to be snake bitten with this team. Mukta would be in on goal next in the 67th minute, but he missed wide there. And like I said, it just feels like it was an off day for this big free for the most part, because yeah, that is something you do not see every day, with Mukhtar having that big of an opportunity, and you just wonder, will that chance maybe be regrettable for Nashville, because up to this point they haven't really created a lot of chances. Well, it turns out it wouldn't be, because in the 75th minute they got the breakthrough as Christian Espinoza, the former Quakes player, and I gotta say, I try really hard in this moment to not celebrate. You know how much I like to see my former player, especially with Espinoza. I have said many times before, I wish him the best with Nashville, and in many ways, I'm very happy that he finally joined Nashville SC, because, yeah, with him being with the Quakes, and it just kind of feels like he kind of wasted his career with the Quakes, with the way how bad that team has been, and now the fact that he finally gets to join a competitive team, you can see that he is definitely oozing with a lot of confidence right now. And like I said, it was very hard for me to try not to celebrate. I actually didn't celebrate. I didn't even say anything. I mean, there might have been a little smile in my face, but deep down in my brain, I was definitely going out loud, because, like I said, I don't want to stand out in the crowd as well. So yeah, that's why I didn't really celebrate right when Espinoza scored that. But yeah, I was definitely very happy seeing him scoring that goal as well. And that, yeah, this all happened because this ball kind of got popped up in the air. He actually had the original shot that was deflected, and the ball kind of popped up in the air. It kind of popped up in a no man's land situation, and then Dane Sinclair trying to punch this one out, and he just couldn't quite do so because there was some confusion in the Miami defense. Like, whenever the ball pops up in the air, you should not be having three defender going for the same ball, and especially right near your goalkeeper. Like, that is not great defending whatsoever, and that's confusion, panic defending in my book. And here you kind of saw that happen, where there was three Miami defender trying to hit that one away, and because of the fact that you have many defenders just kind of focus on the ball right there, you basically leave player wide open in the box. And in this case, Espinoza was just completely unmarked there. You just cannot do that. If you're not expected to get punished by Nashville, even if they're having an off night like that, and that's exactly what happened. Espinoza buries it, and just like that, Nashville has tied the game up. But most importantly, they got that away goal that they've been looking for throughout this game. And really, as the time winds down, you just kind of had a feeling that maybe Nashville was starting to shut things down, and the fact that they were kind of like in no interest in terms of attack, because again, up to this point, Miami has not really shown that they have that ability to break them down. And it also doesn't help the fact that they've been pretty much stuck in second gear ever since Messi scored that goal as well. They just look way too stagnated on the attacking end. And the other thing that also doesn't help is the fact that, after I wrote Savetti hits one right to Schwalke from long range in the 83rd minute, is that where in the world is this urgency from Miami? Like, you are dead. Now heading out of this competition, if you don't score the goal, why in the world am I still seeing them doing backwards passes? And I can even hear the frustration from fans as well, the fact that there should not be sideways passes and backwards passes when you're down in the 90th minute. Like, if that was my team, I would have definitely be pulling my hair if I see the Loons or the Quakes do that, of just showing no urgency whatsoever going forward on the attack as well. And because of that, Inter Miami is eliminated from this competition. As I said, Nashville has finally defeated their demons and able to move on into the next round. And albeit, even if this doesn't count as a win in the record book, what's important is that, this was the thing I mentioned about Nashville in the beginning of the season. This was the big test that we're going to find out whether or not if they can finally pass it. Safe to say they finally passed that test, but it also is partially due to the fact that, again, Inter Miami, they just were not at it in these two-legged affair. They weren't at it in the first leg as well, and I think, quite frankly, they were very lucky. The fact that they didn't lose by a goal or even a couple of goals in that game, if Nashville was just being a little bit more clinical. And then here, they were not at it here again either. Besides Messi scoring that goal, there's just way too much complacency. You just cannot do that, especially in these these knockout competition, and especially with the way that the away goal rule is still a thing in this CONCACAF Champions Cup as well. But either way, the shots in this one, 10 shots compared to 5 that Nashville has, 6 shots on goal compared to 1 that Nashville has. Both teams had 2 shots that's off target, 2 shots that's blocked for both of these teams, and possession-wise, 59% possession compared to 41% possession that Nashville has in this one. And, I can definitely hear a lot of Miami fans have said that this season has already been a failure because they really want to win this. This was supposed to be a revenge tour for them in terms of what happened last year as well. I would say probably a redemption tour for them to after them falling short once again in the last edition in the semifinal against Vancouver. And now not only the fact that they don't get that redemption tour, but to be out after just being there in the first round. I mean, yeah. Again, I think this is where you also got to look back in terms of Javier Mascherano and in terms of these players as well, and that there's got to be a lot of question that is being asked of those guys. And just because I know Mascherano did win an MLS Cup for Inter Miami, how much is that now is because of the talent that this team has, and that how much it is the fact that he got carryover that, and that he's really not as good as what we thought he was going to be. I mean, to be fair, we kind of had a feeling he wasn't going to be a good head coach, and talent can definitely mask a lot of that issue even in the head coaching role. But now it seems like because of the fact that some of the talent isn't there anymore, and that I even hear a lot of Inter Miami fans talks about the loss of Busquets and Alba, and I agree with them. I mean, I really think both of those guys. As much as I know they added a lot of players this off season, and think that some of them, of course, has been an upgrade. It doesn't seem like that's kind of the case. I mean, most of these guys that they added in the offseason has not had a huge impact, or in the case of Herman Betarame, it has just been a huge disaster in terms of his first month in 10 years of just not able to score a goal. Like, the pressure is going to continue to mount on him. The longer he goes on this drought, the more frustration the fan base would be, and the more that I think the ownership group might have to do something about this, because you cannot keep a guy that is not producing in front of goal, and especially you're also going to taking minutes away from Luis Suarez, who, even in his limited minutes, he's still proven that he can be a goal scoring machine and can be more dangerous going forward than whatever Betarame has kind of been so far in the beginning of this season. But that being said, now let's talk about the next game, and I do apologize the fact that I just spent 18 minutes talking about that game, because when I went to that game, and whenever I go to a game, I tend to go a little deeper in terms of talking about it, because I actually can see what's going on and all the tactics and so forth. But now let's talk about the next one, which is the Philadelphia Union versus Club America. So I gotta say, for the Philadelphia Union, they definitely put up more fight than what I thought that they would do in this one. Though in the first half, it definitely didn't look like that. It looked like this was going to be a rolled over that Club America was going to give to the Philadelphia Union. In fact, just like the last game, this game also featured an early goal, as in the 6th minute, Dorado would score from Vega to make it 1-0 in favor of Club America. It was also the first shot of the game as well, and not great set piece defending there from the Union. I mean, you cannot leave a player wide open there in the box, especially when you face the likes of Club America. And yeah, they were made to pay, and just like that, it was 1-0 in favor of Club America, and you just feel like, even though we're 6 minutes into this game, even if that was only the first shot of the game, you just kind of had a sense that there was no coming back for the Union. I mean, they now have to score 2 goals, which is just as many as they have done so far in this entire MLS season as well. And with the fact that they haven't really scored multiple goals in any of the game besides the one that they had against Defense Force in the CONCACAF Champions Cup in the first round this season, there was very highly unlikely the fact that the Union was going to do anything in this game. And it also kind of doesn't help the fact that Club America continued to put on the pressure. Rodriguez would miss wide from close. Sanchez would then miss high from the corner in the 18th minute. It was all America up to this point, and I just thought this could be a long night for the Union. This feels like it's something similar to what we've seen in the past, where MLS team just getting absolutely dominated by their Liga MX opponent as soon as this two-legged affair went to Mexico. And in the 22nd minute, it looked like Club America doubled their lead. Zendejas gets the second goal for Club America, or did he? Because they go to VAR to see whether or not indeed Zendejas was in an offside position. He was. He was just about a tad foot offside there, but nevertheless, the goal, of course, was chopped off, and that might be a lifeline for the Union, because up to this point, they were not at it. Yeah, up to this point. Vega would then miss wide from long range in the 35th minute before Rake denied Salas from close range, as America was pressing to try to get another, and they had a chance to do it again in the second minute of stoppage time when a penalty was given to them after Lukic handballed it, but once again, they had to go to VAR to see whether or not indeed Lukic actually handballed it, and he did. I mean, he even said that didn't hit his arm, it actually hit his shoulder instead, or I'm sorry, not really his shoulder, but kind of like this area that I forgot what it is actually called, because again, it's late at night. My brain is not really working at the best right now, but nevertheless, yeah, it was clearly not a handball, so that once again, a VAR comes to the rescue with the Philadelphia Union, but we do head to halftime with the Union down 1-0, and you're just thinking, unless if they show some fight in the second half, this feels like it's going to be a walkover for Club America. It was almost like it's inevitable that they were going to get a couple more goals. However, in the second half, whatever Bradley Cornell said to this team, it worked to a treat, because they got a penalty in the 48th minute. This time is Zendejas bringing down Westfield in the box. Obviously, the Club America fans, they were absolutely fuming about that. I mean, I guess it kind of makes sense, the fact that you see your home team have 2 goals disallowed. Now you're basically seeing the referee award a penalty to the other team. I can understand why they're a little bit annoyed by that, but it was clearly a penalty there. It was pretty clear that Zendejas brought down Westfield in the box. So here comes the Union, and keep in mind, they have had their struggle this season when it comes to the penalty spot. It was very interesting to see who was going to take it. It was actually Jesus Bueno of all player that took the penalty, and Bueno in the end was able to bury it to give the Union some life. And I immediately say, maybe Philly ain't dead in this game. I mean, now that the Union have scored, maybe they have the momentum in trying to get the next one. And guess what? They did have the momentum. Ilowski was in on goal there, but he missed wide as the flag went up. Even with the flag going up, that is one that Milan Ilowski should bury. And that moment kind of also sums up Milan Ilowski doing his time with the Union. I mean, the Union are probably feel like they have just get absolutely scammed by San Diego. The fact that where was this Milan Ilowski that we saw from San Diego, and why we're not getting the same kind of impact with him with the Philadelphia Union. And I said this before, part of that reason why Ilowski maybe is not getting the same impact with the Union is because, they run a complete different system than what San Diego has. And not to mention the fact that I think with what Ilowski did with San Diego, that was kind of maybe a sign that he was just kind of in such a hot form. And, we usually see this all the time when a striker in a hot form like that. It just feels like they just don't know how to miss. But now Ilowski's definitely not in a hot form. He's definitely hit a cold stride, and as a result, he just haven't really quite show that same ability that he has during his time with San Diego than it is with the Philadelphia Union. But at the same time, I also thought the Union definitely gained a foothold in this one, and it feels like Club America all of a sudden, it feels like they're on the ropes. They kind of mentioned before throughout this game that this is kind of something that is not that uncommon with Club America this season, where for whatever reason Club America, just like what I said with Inter Miami, they tend to be a little bit complacent whenever they get the lead. They don't really bury opponent like they did in the past, and that kind of frustrates a lot of Club America fans, because at the end of the day, I know Club America did advance in this, but as I will tell about in just a bit, their fans were not satisfied of how this team played, especially with the way that Liga MX's team, when it comes to this competition, it's not just about moving on into the next round. It's all about the style point as well. If you do not do well against an MLS team, or even don't get the win against an MLS team in Mexico, it adds more pressure, and there's going to be more criticism than what we see with MLS team maybe not getting the resort against a Liga MX team at home, or even on the road down in Mexico as well, because the pressure is definitely on these Liga MX teams to win this competition, and not really kind of continue to talk the fact that maybe MLS is definitely closing in fast when it comes to the quality between both of these league itself. But in the 60th minute, Hario puts it wide from close before I also thought that Hario would want to have that one back, because that was a wide open shot in the six. It just kind of feel like he rushed that shot, and that's why it went wide. Westfield would then puts it high from long range, and really as the time winds down, the Union, they just can continue to have the possession, something we just did not see at all in the first half. But the problem is, as it is kind of the case this season, whenever the Union does have possession, they don't do too much with it. They really don't have a lot of quality going for it on the attack, and as a result, they just aren't able to get that second goal. Club America does move on into the next round with a 2-1 aggregate lead, but like I said before, in Liga MX's perspective, when you don't get a win against an MLS team, even if you're moving on to the next round, yeah, there's going to be some unsatisfaction, and especially with the standard that Club America has, it was not a big surprise that the boos were coming down and when the America faithful watching this, they probably were not happy in terms of the way that they just barely scrapped by against a team that has just not had a great season whatsoever. But either way, the shots in this one, 10 shots compared to 7 that the Union has, 2 shots on goal for the 3 that Club America has. Both teams had 2 shots off target, 5 shots that was blocked for the 2 that the Union has, and possession-wise, 57% possession compared to 43% possession the Union has in this game. And like I said, I think Union fans will definitely applaud their team in terms of putting a much better effort than anticipated in this two-legged affair. But the bottom line is, the sad thing about the Union coming out of this game, as much as they put up a really good fight in this game against Club America, it really still hasn't solved the biggest issue that they have this season, which is going forward in front of goal. They have just looked really, really poor. I mean, some of them kind of expected, especially with all the sales that they've done this off season, and them going for a bit of a transitional period. But this is also where you hope that some of the talent that you brought in recently to replace those guys that you lost would stepped up. And yeah, let's just say, safe to say that just have not happened before, and that's kind of the reason why Union fans has been very frustrated with this team so far. Now, moving on into the next match, and now talk about these two these games that were not close whatsoever in the overall aggregate score as well. And we'll start with the game between Toluca versus San Diego FC, and this game felt very similar to the Minnesota versus Vancouver game that I saw on Sunday, where we saw the home team basically showed up for most part of this game, and then the road team just decided that, yeah, it's just not going to be their day. And that's kind of shocking to say about San Diego as well. I mean, San Diego has been just such a good team for the past year in their expansion season. Even in the beginning of this season, they have got off to a pretty good start, provide some really shocking result, including beating Toluca in the first leg as well. But I think this game may be... There's a combination of why San Diego probably looks so bad in this game. One, you're playing against a Toluca team that I'm pretty sure they're probably still angry. The fact that they lost to San Diego in the first leg, that is. But it's also the fact that, I always said this before, when you're playing down in Mexico, it's already going to be tough enough. But then if you lose some of your star player like Manudua, yeah, it just makes the mound even tougher. Though, to be fair, I would also kind of say that even if they had Manudua in this game, and this might be just kind of hindsight, I don't know if they would have slowed down this Toluca attack. I mean, this Toluca attack, they smell blood from minute 1 in this game. In the first half, 2 minutes in, Angulo with the game's first shot, but he missed wide. Toluca definitely started strong and already looking for the goal to have the two-legged advantage. Helenio would hit it right to Furry before he would put it high from long range. It was all Toluca up to this point. And for San Diego, you just kind of had a feeling that maybe they just need to ride out this ferocious pressure that Toluca was putting. Spoiler alert, they didn't really ride it out for most part of this game. I mean, Toluca was just at San Diego pretty much throughout the entire game. Paulinho did try to backheel one in, but he hits it right to Furry. The shots were already 5-0 for Toluca up to this point. And then it looked like they finally broke through in the 23rd minute when Mendes put it into the back of the net. The problem was there was an offside on the development of play. So, yeah, VAR saw that. It disallowed the goal, and I just kind of feel like that feels like it was a get-out-of-the-jail-free card that was used by San Diego, because right now they are just not at it in this game whatsoever. I mean, Toluca, it was just a wave after wave of pressure that San Diego has dealt with, and I guess this is what happened when San Diego doesn't have possession. Again, they're a team that definitely plays better when they have possession compared to when they don't have possession. This is kind of also the reason why I don't know why more teams don't usually do this against San Diego. Maybe just press a little higher up the pitch and trying to win the ball back. Now, obviously, there is a bit of a risk when it comes to doing that, and not every team is like Toluca. I mean, Toluca, I think the reason why they also did it so successful is because they just have much better quality when it comes to the press, and they look more organized in the press that just San Diego just have no idea how to deal with it whatsoever. And not every MLS team is going to have the quality that Toluca has. In fact, not many Liga MX team has that quality as well. This is the reason why Toluca is one of the more fun teams to watch, because that attack is arguably, if not the best in not just in Liga MX, but maybe in MLS in general as well. But in the 30th minute, Pellegrino did have a rare opportunity for San Diego, but he missed that one wide, and that was a huge chance to miss as well, because, yeah, you just kind of had a feeling San Diego wasn't going to have a lot of chances in this one. Furry would then denied Helenio from long range, but then in the 43rd minute, Toluca finally break through, as Angulo would be the one that scored the opener for Toluca. And yeah, for Duran Furry, up to this point, he's been lights out. It's kind of the reason why this was at 0-0 for so long. But yeah, this is not going to be a one that he will want to look back. Just kind of played it right into a Toluca player, that is. And yeah, when you do that against Toluca, I mean, Toluca already having a good attack. You don't need to help them by giving the ball away cheaply like that. And no surprise that they were punished. San Diego, that isn't even Furry himself. And just like that, it was 1-0 in favor of Toluca, having the two-legged advantage. But like I said, with Liga MX team, it's not about moving on into the next round. They need to do it in style. And Toluca definitely took that seriously heading in the second half, because they were showing no mercy in the second half. Continuing to press to try to get that second goal and the lead in the aggregates. And they could have got so if it wasn't for making an incredible double save, kind of a redemption double save there, both denying Pereira and Arces, and the ball even had to be clear off the line. Toluca kind of picked up where they left off, and yeah, this is definitely not the way that San Diego wants to do if they want to get a goal back in this game to lead the aggregate. Helenio would then puts it high from long range before Paulinho would miss an absolute sitter from in the front post. I gotta say, Paulinho, he could have easily had a hat trick in this one. He had a lot of chances in this game, and the same goes for Helenio as well. Both of those two of the more dangerous Toluca attacker. I mean, they were just a handful to deal with if you're a San Diego defensive perspective. But the pressure continued for Toluca. You kind of feel like, for Mikey Veras, he either needs to have a sub or a tactical change, because this is just way too easy for Toluca. Like the amount of pressure that San Diego was under, you just kind of had a sense that second goal for Toluca was imminent. Tverskov with a rare chance for San Diego, but he missed one in the 53rd minute. Helenio would then hits the side netting, but then the 56th minute, Paulinho would score from Gallardo to make it 2-0 in favor of Toluca, and that's when I wrote, yep, San Diego might as well just turn the lights out, because the party is definitely over for them. Wave the white flag. Toluca is definitely feeling it, and it wouldn't take long before they would be 3-0 when Angulo would score again for Toluca. Originally, this goal was disallowed for offside. They would later overrule that. So, yeah, it's 3-0 in favor of Toluca up to this point, and if I'm not mistaken, that's now 5-3 in terms of the aggregate score. But like I said, Toluca, they were showing no more. See, they were pushing for more. Helenio would then have a shot that was deflected right to Furry. Toluca is just toying with San Diego up to this point, and if you're San Diego, this is a rare kind of experience of being on the wrong end of just an absolute absolute blowout that we were seeing. Vega would then puts it wide from long range in the 78th minute. In the 85th minute, it gets from bad to worse for San Diego as another San Diego player gets sent off. This time it's Christmas Vega getting a second yellow card in this one. Paulinho would then puts it into the side netting, but then the third minute stoppage time, Gallardo would score from Garcia to make it 4-0 in favor of Toluca, and that would be the final score in the second leg affair. 6-3 overall in terms of the aggregate score, an absolute domination that Toluca had against San Diego. Something that, again, this is something that is unfamiliar territory with San Diego. You rarely see this team getting absolutely dispatched like this. But the shots in this one, 25 shots. Yeah, 25 shots in this one compared to just 5 that San Diego has. 11 shots on goal in this one compared to none that San Diego has. 2 shots off target to 7 that Toluca has. 6 shots off blocked with the 3 that San Diego has. And possession-wise, 58% possession compared to 42% possession that San Diego has in this game. And like I said, for San Diego, I mean, as disappointing as this result is, I think a lot of San Diego fans will still be proud in terms of how they done in this tournament. Like, we kind of knew that this was going to be an uphill battle, or it's not even an uphill battle. This feels like it's a mission impossible task for them to able to hold on to their 3-2 advantage. I mean, you just kind of had a feeling they had to score a goal somehow, because knowing that Toluca is so ferocious going for it on the attacking end, and not to mention they're missing their best defender in Manu Dua in the last game because of the red card. Yeah, it just feels like this was always seems to be coming, and San Diego, they just gotta have to move on from this and hope that this is just kind of an outlier for them, because now it will be very interesting to see that this is something they haven't experienced a lot, where after a blowout loss like that, can they pick themselves up and respond in league play that is, and look like their old self, because we've seen it before where even some of the best teams, when things don't go right for you, especially in CONCACAF Champions Cup, it can snowball into the league itself, and San Diego is definitely hoping that that's not going to be the case, and they shouldn't be. I think Mikey Veras will basically respond will make sure his team by saying that, yes, I know it sucks the fact that we got blown out in this game, but we are facing against a team that is literally the back-to-back Liga MX champion. There's a reason why Toluca is a back-to-back Liga MX champion. They have looked like a well-drilled machine, and a team that is also one of the reasons why they are considered one of the favorites to win this competition as well. So they just gotta have to move on, and they know that they're not going to face those kind of team every single week in MLS as well. In fact, you got to say, when you look at the league itself, there's not really a lot of team that you could say that is almost in the same level as what Toluca brings tonight as well. Now, that being said, moving on into the last game is Seattle versus the Vancouver Whitecaps. So this game kind of felt a little similar to the last game as well, where I thought Vancouver was kind of the better team for most part, but unfortunately the finishing is just not there for them, even though they did take the lead in this one, and there was maybe the hope that the comeback would come, but yeah, Seattle put that away late in the game, and they actually end up winning this game as well. Now in the first half, the first minute, Rusnak would put it wide after just 43 seconds. Di Rosario then missed wide on the header. Seattle definitely started the better side up to this point. They were looking to get the goal to really put this two-legged affair out of reach. Berhalter would hit one right to Fry, as that was Vancouver's first shot, before Jackson would get booked for simulation. And even though AZ Jackson, he tried his best to be in disbelief, to don't know why he got booked for simulation. I mean, I think when he went back later and see this in the film, yeah, I think he knows that was clearly simulation. And I don't know if the CONCACAF Champions Cup or CONCACAF have a rule similar to MLS, where if you decide to dive, you are going to get a fine for it. I don't know if AZ Jackson is going to get a fine, but I know for sure if he does that in the league, yeah, he's going to definitely hear it from the disciplinary committee in terms of embellishing there as well, because the disco in MLS has really been trying to crack down in terms of players that is diving in the box and embellish in the box to draw a penalty. In the 20th minute, Jackson would then puts it high at the top of the arc. Vancouver definitely started to get some chances and dictate the game and try to look to get one back. White would then hits one right to Fry, but then the 23rd minute, Vancouver does get one back in terms of the accurate score and takes the lead as Batwell would score from White to make it 1-0 in favor of Vancouver. And not only the fact that that's been coming, yeah, for Stephen Fry, he probably should have done better. There's a reason why Andrew Thomas is now the starting goalkeeper for the Seattle Sounders side. I think that baton has definitely officially been passed. The fact that, Stephen Fry, he is still going to be under contract for the Sounders at least until the end of the year, but I would not be surprised this might be his final year with the Seattle Sounders, and maybe his final year in his professional career as well, because it's clear to see that while Fry has had some incredible season with the Seattle Sounders, and he's going to be remembered as a legend with the team and going down as one of the best goalkeepers to ever play in this league, it is pretty clear that his glory days are long over, and that's kind of an example of it. But besides the first 10 minutes, I thought Seattle has been on the back foot, and they got to be careful because, again, if this second goal goes in for Vancouver, and we know Vancouver can score. I mean, they just put 6 past the Loons. I mean, I'm pretty sure they can put a couple more goals in this one. But if they do, yeah, that's where the alarm bells could be ringing for the Sounders. Jackson would then hits it right to Fry before De Rosario puts it wide from long range, and we do head to halftime with Vancouver leading 1-0. In the second half, Berhalter tried to go for Olympico from the corner, but it was tipped over by Fry. Vancouver kind of picked up where they left off, trying to press for another. Muller would then puts it high from close as we fast forward into the 73rd minute before Rothrock would blast one to Idaho in the 74th minute. It probably did because, this game is taking place in Spokane. It's not that far away from the Idaho state border. Muller would then blast it high from long range in the 77th minute, but then the 79th minute, Seattle would tie the game up as Muswowski would score from Kingston to make it 1-1 in this one, and then 4 minutes later, they would take the lead in this one as Paul Rothrock, who just cannot stop scoring goals right now, he scored from Peter Kingston as well. So what a night it has to be for Peter Kingston, the youngster from Tacoma Defiance, getting 2 helpers in this one. And yeah, just like that, Seattle quickly erased the 1-0 deficit that they had here in the second leg to lead 2-1. Not that it really matters because, they were already winning big in the aggregate score, that is. Ocampo did look for one back, but he puts it high from long range before Takaoka denied Petkovic from long range in the first man of stoppage time. And yeah, in the end, the final score, 2-1 in favor of the Sounders, 5-1 overall in the aggregate score. Yeah, this was not what I anticipated, especially coming into this one. I thought this was going to be a closely battle match, just like the one we saw with Miami and Nashville. But in the end, the difference really in this two-legged affair is just about finishing. Seattle would be very clinical throughout this two-legged affair. Vancouver was just not, and that's kind of what comes back to haunt them in this two-legged affair. And unfortunately, they're not going to have that redemption run of finishing the job that was left undone after losing in the final last year, as they're eliminated in this one. The shots in this one, 11 shots for the 13 that Vancouver has, 5 shots on goal for the 4 that the Sounders had, 5 shots off target for the 6 that Vancouver has, 1 shot that was blocked for the 2 that Vancouver has, and possession-wise, 39% possession compared to 61% possession that Vancouver has in this game. Whew, there we go. That is pretty much it for the review of all these games. A bit of a longer review than I anticipated. That's what happened when you spend 17 minutes talking about the first game, that is. But either way, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you do, make sure you like, smash the subscribe button. Of course, tomorrow we got 2 more games to finish up in terms of all these games that takes place in the round of 16 that is the CONCACAF Champions Cup. But until then, hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys next time.